Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hello everyone. Namaste. This is the third video in series of 5 videos on Chapter 1 Arjuna Vishada Yoga. In the video 2, we have taken a look at the breakup of verses and related message. We have also seen a slide with some of the one-line references in Sanskrit from verses of Chapter 1. Now here in this video, you will see on the screen a table showing some of the keyword phrases from chapter 1. These words mostly form the core message of the chapter, especially drawing a reference to the state of mind of Arjuna, who felt disheartened and hopeless upon seeing his own people with whom he would have to fight in the war. The meaning of these keywords is obvious. You will understand the context of each keyword phrase once you study the chapter with the help of these videos. Let us look at those words. My people, in the midst of two armies, my mouth becomes dry, bow slips from my hand, unable to stand steady, my limbs fail, my body quivers, my skin intensely burns, my hairs stand on end, my head turns. I see bad omens, your talented disciple, grandfather, teacher, kinsman, family traditions, despondency, great sin, greed, many heroes who have risked their life for me, legitimacy, unwanted progeny, immorality, ceremonial offerings, dispassion, overwhelmed with sorrow. Now in the next screen, which was part of the video 2, we have the one-liner references in Sanskrit from chapter 1. We did not elaborate on them then. Let us discuss a few of them now. We will continue the rest in our next video. Mamaka Pandavas Cheva. This is from verse 1 of chapter 1. Here, Dhritarashtra was asking Sanjaya as to what did they do when Mamaka, my people, and Pandavas had gathered together in Kurukshetra, the Dharmakshetra. In this statement, Dhritarashtra clearly displays his deep-rooted indifference towards Pandavas, who were sons of his own brother Pandu. Dhritarashtra was not just the one who was visually disabled. He was even a person with a negative disposition and negative discrimination which doesn't fit to an individual who ruled the kingdom. It proves he was blinded by his buddhi too. Not that this is a new find in the personality of Dhritarashtra. At the very outset, the war would not have happened had he not shown undue love and affection towards his ill-motivated sons. He could have disciplined his sons, which he never did. Dhritarashtra also disrespected the throne of kingdom, presence of elders in the royal court like Bhishmacharya, Drona, Vidura, and many other intellectuals by giving ill freedom to his sons, who went on disrobing a woman in the royal court, besides waging frequent attacks on Pandavas. Dhritarashtra was a person entirely seized by delusion with a dark shade of intellectual disability. This reference teaches us that a leader who holds a nepotism, narrow-minded perspective, and negative discrimination would ruin his own future and would be a cause of sorrow to his beloved people and followers too. Let us look at the second one-liner from verse 9 of chapter 1. Anye cha bahava shura madardhe chakta jivita. Duryodhana was narrating to Drona about the army of commanders and heroes who have risked their life for his sake. The expression of Duryodhana reveals that he considered the war as a recourse to satisfy his vagaries at the cost of dharma, and he was taking pride in seeing that There were many heroes in the war field who were ready to lay their life for his sake. A king never does anything for his own sake. A king is the one who is selfless at the core of his character. A king who wages such a colossal war to satisfy his vagaries, risking lives, livelihood, and future of millions of people doesn't deserve to be in power. Such a conduct goes against Kshatriya Dharma. It is the duty of righteous and true Kshatriya to decimate such ill-minded rulers so that the subjects of the state would be protected from selfish and wicked conduct of the ruler. Duryodhana had no agenda to wage war. Pandavas never tried to harm him. They allowed him to enjoy the pleasures of kingdom as a ruler. They only wanted to have at least a small parcel of kingdom so that they can maintain their future without being a dependent somewhere. Duryodhana's reluctance to this and conspiracy of silence played by Dhritarashtra, Bhishma, Drona and others had led to war. This is just one reference to understand Duryodhana's selfish and evil mindset. It is a big story and we might discuss it sometime later. Bhishma might not have maintained conspiracy of silence, but he was silent, which was not absolutely proper on the part of an intellectual like Bhishma, a considered a revered personality by one and all. The next one-liner is from verse 15 of chapter 1. Panchajanyam Hrushikesho Devadattam Dhananjayaha. Both the armies, as a symbol of beginning of war, started blowing conches and playing various instruments like drums, trumpets, etc. This sentence refers to Krishna blowing conch named Panchajanyam and Arjuna blowing Devadattam. The next one-liner is from verse 20 of chapter 1. Pravrutte Sastra Sampate Dhanurujyamya Pandava. It was war time. The moment to start the war came. Arjuna took up his bow and arrow to engage in war as the flight of arrows almost started. The fact that Arjuna took up his bow and arrow to engage in war reveals that Arjuna had no contemplation of any sort to review his decision to fight war. He was all ready to fight the war. He took up the bow and arrows to start off his side of fight. The next one-liners are from verse 21 and 23 of chapter 1. Senayorubhyor madhye ratham sthapayame achyuta. Dhritarashtrasya durbuddhe yujhe priyachikirshavaha. Standing in the chariot, holding bow and arrow to start off the flight of arrows, Arjuna said, Hey Hrishikesha, please place my chariot between the two armies. I would like to see with whom I should engage in war, and whoever have assembled there, eager to fight the war for wicked, evil-minded Duryodhana. Here, by addressing the personality of Duryodhana as wicked or evil-minded, Arjuna was silently revealing his compulsion to fight the war, as the evil-minded Kauravas had pushed them to the war field by not accepting even to the least grant of 5 villages to Pandavas. This shows how mature Arjuna was as a human being and as a leader. A leader would know his capacity to create wealth even with the minimal resources. So, they probably wanted to start off life with a minimal foothold and could expand in course of time considering their capacity. It is possible Duryodhana smelled this and that is why he wanted to eliminate Pandavas and allies in the war at one stroke. The Kauravas played mind game, forcing Pandavas into war. The greed and wicked character of Duryodhana was very evident in the entire story. Unfortunately, we find Duryodhanas everywhere in our today's society. That is why there is a growing unrest and absolute absence of peace around. The next one-liner is from verse 24 of chapter 1. Senayorubhyor madhye sthapayitva rathottamam. Krishna placed the great or best of chariots between two armies in front of Bhishma, Drona, and all the commanders in Kaurava army. With this, we close this video. Let us interact on rest of the content in our next video. May please leave your comments and questions in the comment box below. I will attempt to answer them as Gita says. Let us remember the sacred words. Bhagavad Gita sadhana is the ultimate spiritual sadhana. Bhagavad Gita sadhana is the ultimate spiritual sadhana. Let us better our lives following the message of Bhagavan Krishna. Om Krishna.